Welcome to the late night chat and to any the regulars and also anyone new. We're reading Darwin Shaw's book Effort and Grace, one of the Mandali, and it's kind of a little bit of the inner path to Baba, self-effacement in Baba. Now, but before we begin, I thought we would if Betty is there. Betty's going to show a little bit of Darwin. This is the author of this book. I think most of you have seen, many have met Baba. I mean, met Darwin, but also, uh, but some of you may not have seen a film of him. This is very short.
Okay, let's.
I wanted to start by saying that when you come to Christ, I'm speaking of the Christ of the present, that when you come in His presence, there is a deep, deep inner humility that kind of sweeps in over you and calms the heart and the mind, and one begins to become awake. One begins to come into the light of reality and to experience the indescribable wonder and beauty of His presence, and that which cannot be separated from His presence, His divine love. I recall one of the first meetings with Baba was so precious to us. We were just beginning to discover how Baba knew our thoughts and our feelings and could respond to them. At that time, I wasn't aware completely of everything that Baba was doing. We're so accustomed to thinking that a person does one thing at a time, and at most two things, but that Baba, there's just no measuring how many things he's doing very efficiently, not only with those who are in his physical presence, but throughout the entire world. It's just, the more we dwell on it and try to fathom it, although he one time told me that he's unfathomable, but...
Okay.
Anyway, that gives you a glimpse of Darwin. It's hard to convey the atmosphere that emanated from him, but I used to call him Clark Kent. And when he started talking about Baba, he would just, kind of explode. He would take off.
Jeff, did he have like a calmness about him?
Yeah, oh, definitely. And not only that, a deep atmosphere that you could almost just, the expression what is that expression? Rooted to the spot. You could be actually rooted to the spot. Your body and the earth could become one and you couldn't go anywhere in the atmosphere that Baba radiated through him. It was really something. And yeah, he could, and an interesting thing, he gave the discourse meetings here at the center for years on every, was it Thursday, I think. But he could have just read the North Myrtle Beach phone book, name by name, and the atmosphere would still be there. It really didn't matter. But yeah, okay. So let's see that the Jacima, the email. Yeah, before we begin, we'll do that, and then we'll get into the book itself.
Who wants to read? Tony, you want to read?
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. Okay. The topic, we are meant to flow. Dear folks of Baba, we are meant to flow. These are the words that we heard Darwin Shaw repeat many times when he would share with us his life with Baba. He would tell us we are meant to flow with the divine love that Baba has infused in each of us. And our work is to keep the heart open so that love can grace our own lives and the lives of those around us. Too often, however, our awareness is trapped behind a formidable dam, so to speak, that is impeding the ocean of this love from flowing into our lives. What is this massive dam? It is the accumulation of countless impressions, sanskaras, that we amassed during the long journey involved in acquiring consciousness. Our destiny is that this dam will gradually break under the loving force within us. What causes our hearts to close? Unfortunately, our reactions to others, to ourselves, and to the world can frequently impede the flow of Baba's love emanating through us. One of the major obstacles to this flow is our mind, with its notions of right and wrong, good and bad, appropriate and inappropriate, loving and unloving. We release or withhold this love according to what our mind deems worthy. We let our likes and dislikes, which we feel are our right to assert, dictate who we will love and who we feel is not worthy of our love. Fortunately, we have the example of Baba and his intimate Mandali, who received everyone with their wholehearted love, whoever they were. Baba has said that human love is conditional. Certain conditions have to be met before there is a release of love. We often require that the object of our love must be deserving. Our love is rarely unconditional. Darwin would insist that we are capable of unconditional love in this very life. Baba has said that divine love, quote, is released even in circumstances which would be looked upon as unfavorable by those who have tasted only of human love, unquote. Whenever we choose not to flow out to a situation or a certain person, we diminish ourselves. We remain small. Baba urges us to always be wholehearted in what we do and how we express ourselves in this world. Even certain attitudes like unworthiness or feelings of superiority interfere with the flow of our love. Darwin has said, quote, letting love flow instead of thinking of selfish things helps to remove veils in our consciousness by dissolving the selfishness, which is based on misconceptions and what Baba calls ignorance of the truth. It is not a matter of arbitrarily forcing the mind or the feelings along certain lines, but entails becoming subtle enough to be aware of how our selfish thoughts are formed from desires, where those desires come from, and what all of that leads to, unquote. Baba encourages us to live in the present. In each moment and situation, we are given the choice of favoring our selfish desires and self-interest or opening to the expansive ocean of love within. If we let this loving current flow towards Baba, which is the best thing we can do, it is his joy to return it transformed. And as Darwin has said, quote, it flows back into us where it can be expressed in the world of forms as a giving energy, unquote. Another way of putting it, this flow might be described as the natural generosity of the spirit. It is a fusion of our love and vitality, a vibrational flow which emanates from the heart center and not from the head with all its self-focused thinking. What attitudes and likes and dislikes do you find that impede the flow of your love? Are you able to experience that the flow of love is on a higher and different track in you than the lower emotional or desire track? Can you feel that withholding your love leaves you feeling diminished in a subtle way? Quote, if the door of your soul were to open for an instant you would see that the heart of every existent thing is your intimate friend, unquote. And that's from Rumi. In his love, Jeff. P.S. We continue on page 19.
Okay. We left off, as it said there, on page 18. And previously it was Christina who read it. You want to read it again, Christina? It was so kind of dense and loaded that we
I'm so
kind of.
sorry. I'm making dinner.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening along. I would otherwise. I'm so sorry.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, Marta, I can't see who's around, but
Jeff, is that, are we going to reread Opening the Heart Center? Is that
yeah,
true?
that's it. Yeah.
Okay, Diane, do you want to read, honey?
It's going the other direction, Jacima. Yeah. Keep going. I think it's the next one after this.
There you go.
A little bit. Yeah, there it is.
Opening the Heart Center, yeah.
Okay.
No, but here's one thing though is don't hesitate to ask questions or even give examples from your own life that might clarify some of these things that Darwin says, because we want to kind of make it as vivid as we can or as understandable. Yeah.
So is that action?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Opening the heart center. Sorry, I was just moving inside when you called on me. Mayor Baba has said that the book he will give us to read is the Book of the Heart, which holds the key to the mystery of life. That is how important the heart is. So much of our work needs to be centered on freeing the heart from sanskaric impulses. We do this work through what I call the heart center, which is a feeling center connected to our subjective subconscious level, as opposed to the reasoning, the reasoning function of the intellect. It is through the heart center faculty that we can become aware of the spirit level of our being. Well, let me grab some glasses. Baba,
So Jeff, what? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
If I have a point in the middle of a paragraph, should I wait till the whole thing is read and go back to it?
Yeah. Might as well wait
Okay.
if your memory still continues. Yeah.
Oh, I have a great memory, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot you had a good memory.
Yes.
Baba especially emphasized the importance of keeping the heart center open. This is where the spiritual path begins in a conscious way, because it is through the heart that we become conscious of sanskaras at the level of feelings and desires. And it is at this level that we can experience the fullness of divine love, beauty, freedom, and bliss, coupled with self-effacement, which is the letting go of the idea of a separate self. Baba says, the ego is the affirmation of being separate from the other, while love is the affirmation of being one with the other. Hence, the ego can be dissolved only through real love. So we must learn how to keep the flow of love in our consciousness, uncontaminated by the I. This involves purifying the heart and keeping the love flowing through the heart center. As love flows through the purified heart, we radiate the divine qualities of truth, love, beauty, and purity. This is our goal. Letting love flow instead of thinking of selfish things helps to remove veils in our consciousness by dissolving the selfishness, which is based on misconceptions and what Baba calls ignorance of the truth. It is not a matter of arbitrarily forcing the mind or the feeling along certain lines, but entails becoming subtle enough to be aware of how our selfish thoughts are formed from desires, where those desires come from, and what all that leads to. As we work inwardly, we notice that our consciousness settles more at the subjective level, and our responses to the world flow from that level. Our values are more clearly defined. We see what sanskaric impulses coming through and can make intelligent choices as to how to counteract it. Our real work, then, is not developing some intellectual practice leading to special knowledge, but learning how to keep the heart center open, which means rising above the level of sanskaric impulses and letting love flow freely. Jai Baba.
Yeah, thank you. Beautifully read. So, Marta, I think you had something to
Oh, yes.
ask or say.
In the first paragraph, we do this work through what I call the heart center, which is a feeling center connected to our subjective, subconscious level, as opposed to the reasoning function of the intellect. It is through the heart center faculty that we become aware of the spirit level of our being. I don't understand that.
That last sentence or
I
all
don't understand what it's saying.
well, yeah. I mean, he's saying that when you get to the heart center with your awareness,
Mhm.
you that is the doorway to the subconscious, what's coming from there. You're
Mhm.
aware, of course, of the feelings and desires and emotions that are flowing through that heart center. And also, what Darwin really emphasized, you become aware of the divine current. You become aware of the realm of the spirit. But that heart center has to be cleared up, purified enough that we can go to the level of the spirit rather than, get all bound up in our feelings and emotions and desires and impulses, all that, or get entangled. And then these are coming down from the subconscious. So that's the work, is to empty out the heart so that there's that loving consciousness is at the core of it. Yeah. But anyone
Thank
else
you.
go ahead and answer that? That's just,
Well, Jim has his hand up. Maybe he
yeah,
can enlighten us.
yeah.
Well, I don't think I can enlighten you, but maybe Baba can. I've been reading Christ Come Again, and it's quite an interesting book in a lot of ways. Anyway, there's a quote here that I had found that I highlighted, and it seems appropriate, I think, maybe at this point. So this is a quote, short quote, but this is from Baba. Listen not to mind's voice, but to the voice of the heart. Mind wavers, heart falters not. Mind fears, heart is undaunted. Mind houses doubts and reasonings full of theories, while the purified heart becomes the dwelling of the beloved God. So rid your heart of low desires, temptations, and selfishness, and God will manifest as your own true self. That's it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got a call.
Oh,
Well, that was really beautiful, Jim. Yeah.
So
Well, read it
pulled
again. Read it
away.
again, Jim. Jim, read
Yeah,
it again. It's
read,
really beautiful. Really beautiful.
What's her
okay.
name?
Again,
Yeah.
this is from Baba, directly from Baba. So it's listen not to mind's voice, but to the voice of the heart. Mind wavers, heart falters not. Mind fears, heart is undaunted. Mind houses doubts and reasoning full of theories, while the purified heart becomes the dwelling of beloved God. So rid your heart of low desires, temptations, and selfishness, and God will manifest as your own true self.
Beautiful. That tells it all right there.
Mhm.
Anyone have anything to say to what we just read? Any questions or examples from your own life?
Diane?
Well, it's gotta, this is where my head jumps in, because I'm trying to understand, when will I know that it's my heart that is in the driver's seat and not my mind?
Good question. Anyone going to take that on? I mean, they have a different quality, definitely, a different frequency. But go ahead. Anyone want to tackle that?
Is it maybe like a boundary? Like you would feel it, like if it was from love, there'd just be no other option. You just, I don't know. I'm really love to.
One thing that in my own, as I experience it, uh, love is a kind of calm and peace to it, tranquility. And emotions and desires and impulses are always kind of excitement based. And, I can determine that whether something's coming out of love and whether something is coming from the little more agitated side of myself, which usually is is not the deeper heart. I mean, I'm just, oh, we got anyone else?
Christina, do you have something for this question, or are you there, Christina?
Hello, this is Jeff.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Are you have something for this question, or another question?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Another question. So just one moment, Christina. Jim, do you have something to address this point?
Yes, I mean,
And then we'll go back to Christina with your question. Okay,
mean,
Christina?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think going directly to that question of the difference between the heart and the head, again, if in that quote that I read, I'll just repeat it because I think if you think about it, this is what Baba is trying to he actually is explaining that. He says the mind wavers, heart falters not. Mind fears, heart is undaunted. Mind houses doubts and reasonings full of theories, while the purified heart becomes the dwelling place of beloved God. So, I mean, I think there is a very different quality that Bob was describing there. And also this kind of as Jeff said, it's a kind of I think the heart is very assured when we experience something from the heart. Whereas if we're having thoughts and in a kind of mental doubts, worries, and all those kind of things are creeping in, then we're in the mind. That's a little bit of what I'm picking up. This is a very clear line between these two. And I guess the hard part maybe is in the middle. If we find ourselves, we're not sure, are we in the middle or are we in one side or the other? But anyway, at least Baba has said that much. So that's something to help us along that line.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of the work, I'm just parenthetical. A lot of the work is distinguish the difference between the voice of the mind and the voice of the heart. I mean, it's a decade's work, because the voice of the mind can be so assured and so certain in everything, and the heart is a little quieter and can get drowned out definitely by the voice of the mind. But just go ahead.
Christina,
Yeah, so the passage, the very last sentence, it says, our real work then is not developing some intellectual practice leading to special knowledge, but learning how to keep our heart center open. which means rising above the level of sanskaric impulses and letting love flow freely. So I'm just curious in terms of just Darwin as a person. Was Darwin a fan of like God Speaks or discourses, or?
He was most drawn to the discourses as far as I don't think he was so much into the metaphysics of Bob, even though he read it all.
Yeah.
But he was really more into accessing the divine love and expressing it in our life. And that was his main thing. And you know, but he was very conversant on the discourses.
Yeah, I was just
They
curious.
did the discourse meetings from, I would say, the 30s on
Mm,
at their home in Schenectady, New York. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But the
Mhm.
discourses are very helpful for putting the mind in its place,
Mm.
kind of neutralizing the interference of the mind in the whole apparatus. Yeah.
Ellen?
So I was trying to think about how I distinguish the mind and the heart, and thinking, oh, well, when I'm with Darwin, when times I was with Darwin, I was definitely feeling the heart, being in the heart. And recently, I tend to get focused in the mind, especially in today's world. I get drawn into things. And I was trying to think about the different feelings, and the feelings when in the heart, and using those as a gauge, is that I have personally, is that the heart is like a gestalt. It's a softening and an opening and a widening of perception. And the mind is a narrowing down and a focus, and a feeling as if that focus is me, but it's a narrowing down and making me narrow. And in the heart, there's this expansion and this loss of me because it dissolves. Anyway,
Excellent.
my observation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that too. It's an expansion, a freedom, a kind of warmth, and the other is kind of more, mine sometimes is just neutral. It performs a function, but it just doesn't have the substance that the heart does. But yeah, beautiful.
Paula?
Yeah, Jeff, did you say that this is a decade's work?
Decades.
Oh, decades. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, what decade? It's endless.
It was not the late 60s.
Right. I just wanted to clarify that.
What did Robin Williams say? If you remember the 60s, you weren't there.
Right. Yeah.
Ron?
Yeah, I wanted to suggest to Diane's question about how to know when you're in the heart versus the mind. I think for me, I like both the heart and the mind, but in their right place. Like Baba says that the mind has to be a servant to the heart. The heart has the final say in everything, and but why not have a servant? I mean, a servant couldn't hurt. But then the next thing, I do have another thing that I want to talk about, and I'm going to talk about it now because that servant has to learn how to be a good servant. If it's a lousy servant, it doesn't really serve you. So, what I want to bring up, what I thought of tonight, is one of the most important things that I came across several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, in a book. And it was a concept for figuring truth versus delusion or illusion. And what this concept said was that our minds, the typical human mind, leaps to three things that are delusional but are habitual. And the first thing is everything is considered permanent. A, a circumstance, a person, a thing, everything in the world is, as soon as you run into it, your mind wants to think, oh, this is it. This is permanent. And it really is not. And there's nothing in the world that's permanent. But our minds love to think that it is. But it really, everything is temporary. So if we can remember temporary, not permanent, that really gives us some time to let the heart be engaged rather than jumping all over this thing that could just take you down the wrong road. The other thing is the mind tends to think everything is pervasive. So if somebody says something that you don't like or insults you or something like that, you don't automatically think pervasively that this person is stupid or doesn't like you, or and just take it thoroughly into a whole realm where it doesn't belong. It's really just, if you look at it as if it's a specific thing. In other words, if somebody says something specifically, okay, well, maybe you think that's wrong. Well, maybe it is wrong, but that doesn't mean they're always wrong. So that's the other thing. And then finally, we tend to we jump to taking things personally, when in fact, it's better for us to look at things as if they were situationally. Like each situation in life is its own, has its own sense of what the judgment should be. You should judge it not on your own personal thoughts that pop into your mind, your reactions and things, but rather, what is the situation? Why would that person have done that or said that? Or why are you thinking this or saying that? It's so the idea of it being situational is more in line with truth than delusion. Anyhow, that has served
Yeah.
me for quite a few years, and I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. You know what, Ellen, your hand is still up. Oh, that's just a mistake. Yeah. You know, one thing that for me, and maybe you find that, I always have to go upstairs to think. You know, my mind is upstairs, my heart's down below. So it's a physical difference. You know, my base of operations up here or down below. And so I have to kind of go upstairs. So it's pretty obvious where the difference between my mind and my heart. Yeah. Does that make any sense, Diane? In other words, when you're up here, when your base of operations up here, I would say you're in your mind, but it's able to, when it's down below, it's being the love is, I mean, the feelings and love is inspiring things. But what do you think?
No, I'm taking all of this in, and I'll probably listen to the recording again, because it's one of the biggest struggles I have. But then when I was listening to you talking, I was thinking, when I don't know what I feel, my mind is in control. And
Yeah.
when I get to this place of knowing like feeling, my head tries to stir up a little trouble and check in, but it's infinite. That fighting that I had, that back and forth tightrope walking, is no longer there. So I guess when I think back, I do have signs in my own personal life that tell me when I'm in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, the body, they say the body doesn't lie. I mean, if you can tune into your body, you can kind of tell where you are, whether you're up in your head or at the heart level. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
all, every one of you.
Yeah.
Jim,
Yeah, hi. I think, I mean, maybe another way of separating the two, I think, is if it's coming from love. If you feel that what you're thinking about is coming from love, from Baba, and some connection to Baba in some way or another, then you know you're in your heart zone. That's heart. When you know if your thinking is critical, if it's negative, you might say, if it's selfish, if it's desire, if it's all those type of things, then the root of it, then that if you can distill it into one of those those two categories, I think you then that puts you more into your head, into your mind. So
Yeah.
I think in some level that's a simple division you could kind of establish, in your own kind of evaluation. I mean, that's just what comes to my mind anyway.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, I guess, what, shall we go on to the next thing, Jay Sema?
Bob, do you want to read? Bob, would you? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Where are we?
I think we're at God's purity.
God's purity. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, we haven't got it posted
Just
yet.
a second, we'll get up there.
There we are. Yeah.
Oh, that's a short one.
Well, read both of them, Bob. Yeah.
Oh, okay. God's purity. During Meher Baba's last moments while in America in 1958, he communicated to us, "I am in you all, but I only can enter your heart when you have driven out everything else." He added, "I am God. I am in you all, but I feel shy. I do not enter your heart if I find there the slightest impurity." He was not conveying the idea that we had to go from being bad to being good, but instead that our minds had to be cleansed of impurities, which means thoughts and desires. Purity of heart means God's purity. Once we have love and inner freedom, purity of heart follows as a byproduct. So we do not focus on purity per se. That could easily lead to egoism.
So stop there to see if anybody has, I mean, we'll go on, you can go on, but let's stop there, see if there's anything that people have to say about God's purity. Pull that, oh, let's get back to the gallery, Jay Sema. Anyone have anything to say to that? Oh, we got a couple of
Yeah,
fish on the line.
I'll be fish number one. That says that I am in all, but I only can enter your heart when you have driven out everything else. Well, that's not totally true. I mean, Baba comes into our hearts whether we're full of whatever. So he must be talking about different levels of love.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I mean, there's always an admixture in our hearts. A little eggshell.
Well, my point being that there's no way Baba would not enter us.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter where we are. But he said that, so it must be true. But I just wanted to bring a hopeful thought into the situation.
Yeah.
Gabriella.
But I might have forgotten what I was going to say, but I did have a comment from before. I'm sorry I got pulled away. When that question had come up of how do we know whether it's the heart or the head, I feel for myself a lot of my mind seems to be, as you just observed, disappeared sometimes, but the emotions that are mind, they are what I notice. Like I'll be thinking I'm all loving, but why am I feeling loving? Is it really loving? Or is it loving because I just, there's sort of an ego bit in there or satisfaction or something like that that makes me feel fulfilled and therefore, fulfilled of the ego and therefore feeling loving. So then when I'm hurt, suddenly hurt, then I notice that goes on real fast. And so, anyway, I'm just thinking that for me, a lot of the feelings are the way that I see my thoughts, my emotions that get in the way. And that the idea of purity, or is a sort of silence, a deeper loving silence, which sort of embodies everything, which I know much less often. I know happiness and I know satisfaction and I think it's love a lot of times, but really I think that that deeper purity, that's what I'm seeking. And I do feel it sometimes, but it's to be distinguished.
Yeah. Yeah, that I think, I mean, the way I look at the heart is that they're the emotions, which are the and desires, which are more the superficial lower part of the heart, and then there are the deeper feelings that are receptive to love. So the emotions and desires and impulses and that, they're all fed by the ego. So uh, so we're
Wait,
kind
would
of
you say that one more time? This is what you just said? That what is receptive to love? The deeper feelings.
yeah,
The deeper feelings are receptive to love. I think I experienced that a lot.
yeah,
And that's a good thing, right?
yeah, definitely, yeah. In fact, I even say the deeper, what manifests in the deeper feelings are the divinely human qualities:
Yeah.
generosity, empathy, kindness,
Right. It
forgiveness.
makes you want to
So,
be loving to
yeah,
others.
Wasn't
yeah,
there a Baba quote about the deeper the feeling that,
well, that's Darwin. The deeper the
oh,
feeling, the deeper the healing.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing he said, and the other one that you cannot heal what you don't feel.
Mm.
So
And I just took a visual that came to me as you said that, is that there's those deep whales under the ocean and the deep water, octopus, and so they're really deep down. But then there's a little fish at the top, and those are all those little feelings that we feel all the time that aren't from our ego, happiness, sorrow, but that these really deep, profound feelings that are so deeply loving, and that's under the water. So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Jim,
Yeah, this is in response to the purity question or discussion. And for me, when I think of purity, I always think I can't think of anything else but Mara, uh, all the Mandali basically, and to be around them and to be in the atmosphere of that purity. How I identify what purity is the quality of that they were, their beings were, and how rich an experience that was. And I still feel in my own small way, my own experiences when I go to India, and when I go to Mirza, I still feel that purity. Just that in that place, it just radiates purity, and so that's my experience of not so, of purity is those experiences that I shared with the Mandali and particularly and still can experience at Mirza. That's for me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Paula?
Okay. Yeah, I'm a little tangential and I'm a little restless sometimes. So I physically picked up the book, the Effort and Grace book, and I went a little bit ahead, and there's this one chapter I just have to say, it's called Dressing Our Soul. It
Yeah.
is so cool what Darwin says. Can I just read this one paragraph?
Yeah. In fact, we'll eventually get to that because
I
dressing your soul with Baba is one of the most miraculous things you can do with Baba, but it's hard to imagine, but it is. But yeah, go ahead, Paula.
No, this is so beautiful. So it says, Dressing Our Soul. Meher Baba is the imperishable sweetness of divine love. We are surrounded by the immeasurable sweetness of his being of divine love, which is the true nature of all space, which permeates us completely through and through, which is indeed our own true nature and being. I just think that is so gorgeous,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, Darwin really
Just-
said that, really emphasized we are embodiments of divine love right now. It's not just it's gonna happen in the future. We are that right now, but then that divine love has to go through so many layers of personality and ego, and it loses a lot of the pristine beauty of
Oh,
where it originated. In the
yeah.
Mandalay, I would say we were getting a pretty pure dose of divine love, and to whatever extent we could receive it is what we experienced. Yeah.
Well, thank you for indulging me for
Yeah,
that.
great. No, okay.
Thank
Ron?
you.
Yeah, I couldn't find the book, but there's a letter that Baba wrote to Delia de Leon that it's the only thing that I ever quote from that book, and I've quoted it a lot because it strikes me as being very important. At least that is the way it strikes me. But I wish I could read it to you, but I can't find the book right now. But it said that knowing God, knowing Baba is there's one. It's one. There's one way, and basically at the end of the very short part there, after he talks about this one thing, one way, he says, "Feeling is not knowing. Pleasing God is the way."
Yeah.
And that to me it would, if I could just please God or not displease God, I feel I everything that is my responsibility to Baba is in that. I don't have to have any particular feelings. I don't have to figure anything out. He lets me know if I pleased him. If I haven't, he'll let me know if it's time to let me know. If not, he'll let me know later. Uh, he's taking care of that. So I try to keep that Baba's pleasure as the utmost way of knowing, getting to know him. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Ron, what was the second part of that quote? Pleasing is what?
Uh, well, actually,
Feel,
pleasing God is the way to know God. Uh, and a feeling is not knowing. That's one of the things he said. Feeling is not knowing.
Yeah.
I think we all are aware that, you know, our thoughts and our feelings are still in the mental realm, uh, whether they be the head or the heart. Um, but if we are intent on pleasing Baba, uh, I don't know that there's anything else. If he's happy, you know, I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
thank you.
And
Thanks, Ron.
just a side thing that, you know, we can be in a state where not feeling Baba, but we can know he's here with us. It's a different faculty. I mean, that's got me through some rough times. That I felt he's with me, but my feelings are not. I'm not picking him up at a level of feeling. Okay, let's. So Bob, continue the next section.
Yeah, if I may, I'd like to, the last short part of this section really struck me because it reminded me of a short quote that I'd like to share. So when Darwin says, purity of heart means God's purity. Once we have love and inner freedom, purity of heart follows as a byproduct. So we do not focus on purity per se. And that reminded me so clearly that, well, here's the quote from Baba. The master is the divine beloved. And when the disciple meets his master, all that he has to do is love him. For if the disciple loves the master out of the fullness of his heart, his final union with him is assured. He need not worry about the quality of his love. He should love in spite of his weaknesses and not tarry till he can purify his own heart.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's
Great. Yeah, that's
excellent
good.
quote right out of the discourses.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, you know, the Mondelys say that the discourses are for the future in a way. Now, love is the main thing at this era of human history. Okay, so
Okay.
Jacima, that's I think it's the
The
night.
knight and the damsel. Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It is wonderful to discover that we have a great reservoir of love within us that can pour forth once we learn how to open the heart center. Many of us around Meher Baba would be aware of the heart center opening and love beginning to flow. His love was like a siphon bringing forth our love for him. We could not help but love him. The result was that our perception was greatly intensified, and we would find ourselves at much deeper levels of consciousness. We would be able to discern values at inner levels more clearly than ever before. We found ourselves supported by new strength because new energies were released. And together with the energies and insight, we found we had more control over our thoughts and desires and feelings within. Our world became not something being imposed upon us, but something that we could control more and more. All this is a function of the heart. So it is very important to keep the heart open and soft. In fairy tales, the knight in shining armor defends, protects, and shields the fair damsel. This is an allegory about the mind and the heart. One's mind can be very helpful in defending the equanimity of one's heart, which is closest to the spiritual realm and should be predominant. The knight, the mind, helps maintain the flow of love through the heart center, while at the same time providing an essential control on the sanskaric impulses that may try to come through. What we are seeking is peace of mind, which is really peace of heart. This means more harmony, upliftment, more light within, deeper and deeper values. We must ask ourselves that we value the most. If we value peace of mind, peace of heart, we will make the effort to defend the heart, through which we are capable of seeing God. Eventually, we experience a high degree of integration of the heart and mind. Then, as Meher Baba has said, the false self becomes the lover of the true self.
Mm.
This kind of reminds me about something that the part of this that's important to me that sort of stands out is the mind helping to maintain the flow of love and helping to control that samskaric flow that continually wants to come up. And last week, I think it was last week, maybe you, Jeff, talked about, or somebody talked about, um, when one is feeling that openness of the heart, that spaciousness, rather than just sitting and enjoying that, to kind of direct it on something that needed attention, like a complex or thoughts, negative thoughts that want to come up, and just direct that spaciousness toward that to help deal with it, to open it up and dissolve it, sublimate it, if you will. And so that's kind of the mind and the heart working together on a problem that's really necessary.
yeah, yeah. Beautiful example.
Mm.
Yeah. And Darwin was the one that used to talk about that. When you find yourself in
Yeah.
an expansive state, use that state to dissolve some of the knots that are at the heart level.
Mhm.
Hey, but I wanted to ask Goer, um, what's your take on this? I mean, this is a whole intangible area. I mean, we're talking, so it's hard to get the words for it, but
Yeah.
how do you
Um,
Yeah, I think when I relate from the heart center, I know that it's the heart center that I'm coming from, because my body tells me that I feel very calm. I feel very positive. But if I react to something, I know it's coming from my mind, because I'm agitated. I'm either coming from anger, or I'm reacting to a certain situation negatively. I know at once that that's my mind speaking, not my heart. So that's how I differentiate. I know that it's Baba coming through me if I relate to somebody very clearly, very openly, very lovingly, then I know it's coming from my heart. Very simple. I mean, it's just my body tells me that it's the heart right away. Right, I know it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I don't know who coined that phrase, the body never lies, but
yeah,
you tune into it, it
yes,
tells a lot.
that's one good member.
Independent of going up and consulting your mind to ask what it makes of this stuff that's going on. The body is very accurate.
There's a question to that I was thinking that might help not only Diane, but helps me. That you said, Jeff, to ask, what would love do? It seems that that question would lead you towards the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a line from this book, Conversations with God, by someone named, I can't remember the name, but he was getting these conversations with Jesus, and Jesus said to him, he wrote down, "What would love do?" Ask
His name
yourself.
is Walsh.
What is it?
His name is Walsh.
Yeah, that's right, Walsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would love do? Ask yourself that question, and I will be with you always in all ways. It's very succinct. What would love, you come to this moment, what would love do? What is love prompting us to do? It's a very succinct way of viewing a very things in a very complicated world. Aha.
Thanks, Jeff. Janet.
Yeah, I have a question for Goher. As I recall in the past, you've talked about when your mother lived with you.
Yes.
And the challenge that gave you, that was for you. And my question is, in that circumstance, I know you of course stayed very connected to Baba, but I'm wondering how that mind-heart balance played out in that situation that was straining you emotionally.
Yeah. Believe me, that was not an easy lesson for me to learn. But as much as I sometimes would just knee-jerk react to something, because my mother was a very willful person. She was very controlling in many ways, manipulative, if you will, sometimes. And I guess that stemmed for her, that stemmed from insecurity in a way. But it took me a long time to realize where she was coming from. And when that happened, my heart center opened, because I knew that was not who she really was. She was just reacting herself to, in relation to maybe her own sanskaras or whatever was propelling her to be that way. But then realizing that, I immediately switched my responses to her and how I reacted, or how I responded, rather, not reacted to any given situation. It was not easy many times, but the more I went through it, the more I came to realize that this was indeed one of my biggest lessons to learn. And this is why this was happening in my life. And I'm so blessed that Baba opened that awareness within me, so that I could then
respond from that point. If you see, if you know, do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think I do. I I especially understand the part that it was not easy.
Yes, of course. Very
And
Yeah.
there's a Christian mystic named Thomas à Kempis, where he says, if you knew all, you would forgive all.
Mm.
And if you
Yeah.
can penetrate to why someone is the way they are, then the forgiveness can come.
That's right.
But if you're kind of coming at them, they shouldn't behave this way, they should be that way. But so that it'll never work. But when you actually
Yeah.
understand where they're coming from, then
And as you rightly say, Jeff, it takes decades for you to learn lessons like this, because
yeah,
when you're coming from a point of always being, given negative stuff thrown at you all the time, all the for years, and you just automatically react to it. But then when you stop and after a while, when it's not working, you stop and you realize and you ask why is this the way it is? And when you go deeper into that question, then it opens up that awareness as to why that person is the way they are. And when you come to that realization and that awareness, then your response automatically goes from up here to down here. And you react from the
I
heart.
think someone needs to be muted, but it's probably either Janet or Janine.
Baba said that love with understanding, I believe he said it was the sweetest flower of creation or something like that. Somebody
Yes.
might know that quote. Right? Love with understanding.
It's interesting. Arnavas said that the understanding is in the heart. I just thought that was very interesting, to locate understanding in the heart, not up in the head. Knowledge can be up here, but understanding, yeah. Janet, I'm sure that was helpful, right?
Yes, it's directive. It isn't like curative
Yeah.
necessarily right this moment, but I mean, I think I have understanding from the heart, but that process can be very challenging, is what I find. And in the moment when the negativity is being directed toward you, it takes me a couple of days to really move through. It isn't like, I mean, giving it to Baba and thinking of Baba and all of that, but that residue of hurt, of pain, can take me a couple of days to really be able to move through to the possibility of what you're speaking of moving it to the heart and yeah. So thank you. I appreciate it. Yes,
Yeah.
it was helpful.
You know what? The challenge for me, and that's why it took me decades for some of this stuff, is that I thought that they could act otherwise. I thought they could act differently. They're being deliberate. They don't have to act that way. They could act this way. And when I finally discovered, actually, they can't. The way they're acting is the only way they can for the time being. But I was, I was projecting on them. They have a choice, but some people have no choice. Even though it seems like if you were put in the same situation, you'd choose differently. But these people, they, sometimes they have no choice, and that helped me a lot, because then I could say, I don't necessarily like the behavior, but I can't blame them for it. That's the way they are behaving for now. So that helped me to not think in terms, not be so critical, but kind of gave me some understanding there. Yeah.
Really good point, Jeff. Really good point.
Yeah.
Jim,
Well, we're getting, and I want to just keep in mind, we're kind
let's
of,
just have
Yeah.
then the two hands that are up, and then we're
Yeah.
finished.
yeah,
It's 11 after 11.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Jim. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking too that another way to deal with these sort of situations is these difficult situations with perhaps with others is to shift the perspective. In other words, in that with the understanding that we have that Baba has brought this into my life. This is Baba's will that this experience is what I'm having now. And what is it that I need to learn from this experience? Is how can I grow from this experience in a sense, but or how, not necessarily how do I grow, but I mean more. I think it's the act of surrendering to the situation too. In other words, accepting it as Baba's will that this is what's happening to me now, and then also in that sense of surrendering it to Baba is a sort of, I think, a place where you can come to where you have to forgive in that moment. You want to forgive in that moment because as part of your surrender is to accept it as Baba's will. And in that place, once you've, I think once you've, if you can get there, if you can get into that surrender sufficiently, then, you know, and wholeheartedly, then again, the heart opens up and you accept, even without understanding why the person is doing what they're doing. It's that this is what Baba has given to you from them, and you bow down to them. I mean, I know this is, I was thinking about this part of this week actually, that the spiritual path or whatever, I can't really say call it spiritual path. I wouldn't have a clue what the spiritual path is, but that I think it's the reverse of the world. So in other words, when somebody in the world, we want to get praised, we want to be loved, we want to be appreciated. But for spiritual progress, in a sense, it's the reverse. We want to be ignored, we want to be forgotten, we want to be abused, because that's where our growth will. That's where growth will happen. That's where our surrender comes in, and that's where our sanskaras, our mental impressions, are eliminated in that process of. So, in a sense, what we want is more of that. I know it sounds crazy, but I believe it's the truth. And if we can again adapt that point of surrender, yes, Baba, this is what you want from me. I accept it, and really be there. I think there can be also a peace, no matter what's going on. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. That spirit opens us to the love, believe it or not. Yeah. Okay. We got one last lone person up there. Paula.
Oh, thank you. I was just thinking, what I'm taking away from this meeting tonight is this quote, "What would love do?" I love that, like a mantra.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful prayer at the beginning of a day.
Yeah. What back in the 60s, in my mental turmoil during my college days, Baba said something was very similar, where he said, in every moment, there's always something loving that can be done. With the implication, just look around. That kind of became the blueprint of my life, you might say. In every moment, there's always something loving that can be done. But you might have to root around and find some avenue. Okay, so let's, anybody have a quote here?
Yes, I do, Jeff.
Okay.
I came across two, but this is a short one, and it's on the subject of forgiveness. I thought it was very, very apt. Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a famous line. Do that, say that one again.
Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. I think that's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And give us your second one.
The second one, okay. This is a slightly longer, but good. When egotism is purged away, when the will is surrendered, when clinging to life is given up, when the rationalizing mind ceases to demand explanations, the door to freedom opens and man becomes what he really is.
And whose quote was that?
That's from the God-man.
Go. Can I ask you what the first one was again, to repeat one more time?
Yeah, on forgiveness. Let's see, where did it go? Yeah. Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it.
That's a high order, tall order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's have a few moments of silence. And yeah. And thank you all for being open and sharing. Yeah. Okay. Jai Baba. Yeah. Martha, do you have any of those?
I have something from Kabir.
Uh-huh.
Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes. Because for those who love with their heart and soul, there's no such thing as separation. Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes. Because for those who love with their heart and soul, there is no such thing as separation.
Beautiful. Yeah. Wonderful. Any last minute remarks? Anything? Deneen, you have anything to say at all or that comes to mind? No, no pressure or anything. Any last things?
Yeah, I have one little thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Christina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to solve a mystery in my life. I received a box from Sherrier Press in Myrtle Beach, and it contained 2 copies of 50 Years of the Glow.
Wow.
You know why you have that?
I don't know why.
I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Because you were at the LA Sahavas, and a wonderful Baba lover named Carol said if she was willing to gift everybody who wanted it, or you filled out something with your address, and you just got it last week. We got ours.
Oh, thank you for helping me solve that. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she just
Mhm.
very
Wow,
special.
that's nice. But she got 2, Diane.
One was for my mom.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, she was there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Oprah. You get a car. You get a car.
Yeah, it was a lovely surprise.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
I
Well,
can sleep at
we'll
night.
see that
Yeah.
we're going on to the next chapter. I don't know. What is the next chapter? It's on, anyway. I can't.
Sanskaric potholes.
Oh, we still have one last paragraph,
Yes.
and then we get into
Yeah.
the next chapter. Yeah.
Where do we
Oh.
begin? Where do we begin next time?
Sanskaric
On
potholes.
potholes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, great to see you, Sabine and Johannes. You still awake? You okay? And Robert? Let's see. Yeah, a few characters around. The usual crowd. Yeah. Any-
Payam in the background.
Oh, Payam. Hey, where's your mom?
Can you see me? Hello, Jay
No,
Baba.
no, but I called on you anyway.
Yeah.
I'm walking the dog and
Oh,
I'm in the dark. Oh, Jay Baba, she's not here. She had
Oh,
come
well, then
home.
you're going to have to fill in for your mom.
Oh my gosh. High order. Okay. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Okay.
hey, Baba.
We can all go now. Tell your, tell your mom, she better, you know, take a little bit of take something to kind of rev her up a little bit.
Yes, yes. I will
Sister,
let her
tell
know.
her we were stuck until we're
Oh,
in limbo here. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Payam did a great job. Thank
Yeah.
you,
Oh,
Payam.
thank you. Well,
Yeah.
Jay Baba.
All right.
Hey,
Much
Baba.
love, everybody. Catch you later. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.